Hey everybody, it's James Freeman. This video starts out with Johnny 50 in St. George, Utah, June 19th, 2019. Johnny 50 was in the building recording, doing a story. At some point, one of the officers he felt acted up, and so he went to ask for a complaint form. After he asked for a complaint form, this gentleman came out and kicked him out of the building.
Everybody,
You, sir? Do you have any business here?
Oh yeah, I'm filming a story.
Okay, you can leave our lobby. If you don't have any police business
I'm
here,
filming a story.
you're being trespassed from our lobby.
This is a constitutionally
If you do not-
protected act.
If you do not leave
Everybody
right now,
call.
if you
Feel
do
free
not
to-
leave now, you will be arrested for trespassing.
For trespass in a
Yes.
public lobby. What's
Then in September of 2019, Johnny 50 and I were doing a story in a very close by police department, Washington City Police Department, right next door to St. George. And we were once again removed from the building by threat of violence. So this is the City Hall building.
off, dude?
This is the City Hall building. We're doing a story here.
You're not doing anything. You are completely off the property.
Go fuck off.
Thank you, sir. Get
You
out.
guys are, and if we don't, then you guys are gonna do violent stuff to us, right?
Get out of here.
What's that?
You'll be arrested.
Listen, you're.
So clearly this area doesn't want cameras in their buildings or on their police officers. Clearly there's something to hide. They're only okay with the camera coming if they're expecting it and they're ready, like in this situation here, where they were ready to speak with me, so I got to ask them a few questions about what they're hiding. Force and bullied us out. Now, again, I'll have to go and look at the details of what happened here, but when I hear what happened here, without seeing the details of it, and then I experienced that up there, I'm wondering if something is going on in this area. Now, I've also heard rumors, which I have not confirmed, that this area has a big problem with child sex trafficking. Do you know about that?
You know, there was a news article recently where they talked about that there's a huge problem with it here. We have dealt with a few cases in the last several years, but I wouldn't say, when I think of a huge problem with child sex trafficking, I think of places like some of these third world countries where they're just trafficking a ton of kids, you know, and using them as sex slaves. I don't think that we're seeing that here.
But it appears that some employees of the City of St. George Police Department wear many hats, including Lieutenant Moss, Police Lieutenant, LDS Bishop, and Pimp. This story was published Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. Man arrested in human trafficking sting removed from position as LDS Bishop. But that's not the only position this man was in. A Riverton man and a Lehigh man are both facing charges after their arrest as part of the same undercover human trafficking operation. Both were arrested on February 14th. David Moss, 51, is a Lehigh resident. Up until his arrest, he was a bishop within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He was responsible for the Mill Pond ward in the city. Residents say they are shocked by the news, expressing sympathy for Moss's wife and family. 2 News learned that back in 2012, Moss was asked to resign from the St. George City Police Department. He was in the position of lieutenant with a supervisory power over various units, including members of the gang and vice squads. He had been employed with the department for 15 years prior to allegations that he had engaged in consensual relationships with at least 1 or 2 women, at least one of whom was his subordinate. The disciplinary action in asking him to resign was based on the fact that he was on duty or had an active duty component when engaging in those relationships. Liz Porter, who lives in southern Utah, says she and her family have known Moss for about 30 years. She tells 2 News they lost touch after an incident between Moss and her nephew. She says she's glad Moss was caught, but also expressed sympathy for his wife and children. Regarding the latest allegations against Moss, 2 undercover detectives initially made contact with him on social media under the pseudonym Pilot. Moss believed those undercover detectives to be prostitutes and allegedly described that he could manage them, not as a pimp, but to help them avoid getting caught. Authorities say he described how he could protect them, help them avoid police, and that he would take care of booking and they would entertain. Moss allegedly also told them he had run other girls and on at least one occasion is accused of grabbing the hand of one of the detectives and forcibly putting it on his genitals over his pants. He then allegedly unzipped his pants and exposed his genitals to the two detectives. Moss was released from jail on February 14th, and detectives followed up on evidence they had collected. On Tuesday, he was arrested again at his home in Lehigh. He bailed out of jail on Wednesday morning, but is facing multiple charges, including exploiting a prostitute and sexual battery. Due to his previous roles in law enforcement and as a leader in the LDS Church, along with having allegedly told detectives he had run other girls, anyone who may have had involvement of this nature with Moss is asked to contact investigators with the Utah County Sheriff's Office at 801-851-4010.
Now, granted, we don't see all the crimes, only what we can find out and what is reported to us. But like I say, we've only seen probably a small handful in the last 2 years.
When I come into this area, I hear, again, I'm going to have to put all the pieces together, but I hear there's a problem with sex trafficking, right? I see you guys are right here on the border of Utah, Arizona, Nevada, and you guys desperately don't want cameras inside of the buildings.
So that's what I thought it was.
I think he's helping this girl.
What are you doing?
What's that?
What are you doing?
Just recording him.
No, sir. Why?
Because it's my job.
It's your job, but if it's involving just me, okay. But we have another person. That person doesn't want to.
Shut up.
Shut up. What is the language is that? What language is that?
My job is to watch you. Shut up and do your job. Why is Officer Noe so upset about me recording this interaction with him and this little girl? Is he just helping a member of the public in need? Or is he just another police officer / Mormon bishop out pimping his hoes?